Good morning again, everyone. I would love to invite everyone to find a comfortable spot. And I would like to officially welcome everyone to the Eastside Legal Assistance Program's 2022 Breakfast for Justice. Welcome, everyone. Okay, I know it is fairly early, but I'm going to ask you to do it one more time because the work that ELAP is doing is so important. So, welcome to the 2022 Eastside Legal Assistance Program's annual Breakfast for Justice. We're so glad to have you here. Okay, that is fairly vibrant for this time of day. My name is Ian Lindsay. I am very, very honored to get to be here and help host Breakfast for Justice this morning. And I am a 6 foot approximately tall person who uses he, him pronouns. I am currently wearing a somewhat colorful bow tie. It has small orange flowers. And I am standing on a stage here at the Maidenbauer Center, and we are so excited to have a number of people joining us here. And also, we have a number of people joining us via our live stream. So welcome to everyone who is joining us via live stream. We're so glad to have you as well. Just a reminder that captioning is available for this entire event. If you click on the link that is just below this live stream and that we are magically putting into the chat for your convenience, at the same time, you will be able to open a separate browser window, and you can place that wherever is most convenient. If you are here in this room, all of those things will be more difficult. However, we have made them easy because captioning is happening on the 2 screens that are to the left and to the right of this stage. So please, if captioning is helpful, position yourself in a way that is comfortable to read all of that. As we begin, this morning we celebrate and support ELAP's work that happens throughout King County. And we would like to acknowledge that this is the traditional land of the Duwamish tribe and other Coast Salish peoples, as well as the home to the Muckleshoot and Snoqualmie tribes. We honor them with our gratitude for their stewardship of this land. And as is probably aware, since I'm talking to those of you visiting via our live stream and to all of you here, this is ELAP's first ever virtual hybrid live in-person via live stream event, and we are so excited to have so many people coming in all the very many ways. Yes. So just if you would bear with me, those of you who are here in this room, I will tell you, I can see, I won't, please just watch here. You don't need to watch online at the same time. But there are quite a few households, like 20 or 30 households that are joining us, which means there are probably another at least 50 plus more people who are part of this. So could I ask you right now to turn and look towards the cameras that you will see in the center of the room, and would you wave to all the nice people? And let's even do this. On the count of 3, if you would all simultaneously say good morning, they will be able to hear you. Here, I'll help you out. Here we go. Look that way. 1, 2, 3. Fantastic. And if you are in the chat or at home and you are at a keyboard, and don't spill your coffee on the keyboard because it makes your workday really rough. But if you would maybe want to write back good morning, and I will tell you that Jerry Kroon just said good morning to all of you. So good morning, and so did Roxanne Shepard. I'm just naming a few people. But just so you know, we are a group of 150 or more people all gathered together, and it is really lovely to all be here. We are gathered to celebrate and support ELAP and our strategic partners from a wide variety of other nonprofit and social service organizations. And most importantly, of course, the impact of ELAP's work on the lives of the people that we serve. And I am sure it will come as no surprise that at some point during this program, we are going to ask if you might generously support this amazing work. And whatever is a most meaningful gift for you is what we would maybe hope you would make at some point. And I will say that support is what allows ELAP to serve people throughout King County in so many ways, as we help people to lift themselves out of poverty, escape domestic violence, stay safely in their homes, and to successfully navigate the immigration system. So we do have a very big goal this morning, which is to raise $180,000 in the next 53 and a half minutes. But with so much generosity, we feel confident that that can happen. And actually, we've really tried to make it very easy for that to happen. So if you're joining via live stream, there is a link. You can find it easily. If you click on that link, it will take you directly to where you might be able to support ELAP. And if you're here in this room, this is the one moment I'm going to ask you if you want to, take out your mobile device, of whatever that may be. If you send a text message to the number 44321, and if you text the 3 characters B4J, as in Breakfast for Justice, you will get a link in response that will allow you to make a contribution, and we ask that you might consider doing that. So B4J to 44321, you can see it's up on the screen. You can also see that thanks to the amazing generosity of people who got up really, really early this morning and who gave in advance, we are already over $100,000 raised towards our goal of $180,000, which is, yes, thank you, all of you. And I do just want to point out that there are people that while you are all enjoying each other's company, the chat is very active. Again, like Vivian and Kevin and Gerald, Jerry, Matt, many people are saying good morning to you and to each other. I just so you understand, there are many people all coming together. In a few moments, we will ask officially if you might be able to help us to achieve that goal of $180,000. And I will tell you that we have an exciting match. That's just a preview of upcoming attractions. I will tell you in a little while. And Andy, thank you. And you can see people are already contributing right now. Roberta, wow, people are doing this. You're amazing. Thank you all. But first, I get to introduce a very special guest. Well, actually, I'm the special guest. She is the person who is bringing us all together. Would you please give a very warm ELAP welcome to the Director of Development at ELAP, Alexandra Comstock. Alexandra, good morning. Hi.
Good morning, everyone. If you're looking at the program on your table, you may be a little confused to see me standing here. As with many things over the past few years, we've had to adjust as circumstances change. And you've already heard that Jerry is with us virtually today because he and Roxanne have to quarantine. But he sends his regards and is very disappointed not to see all of you today. I'd like to first thank our sponsors who helped make it possible for us to be here today. Our premier sponsors, Amazon, Microsoft, Perkins Coie, and T-Mobile, and our event sponsors, Symetra and the Wilson Sonsini Foundation. These businesses, These businesses have been outstanding and longtime supporters of ELAP. And there are many other organizations that have made today possible, and you can see the full list of all of our sponsors on our website. So please join me in thanking all of them. As Ian mentioned, our goal today for the Breakfast for Justice is $180,000 to ensure that people in King County who can't afford to hire a lawyer still have access to legal help. A huge round of applause for our table captains and our virtual fundraising captains who are helping us achieve that goal today. We're also pleased to have a number of public officials and judicial officers with us this morning. Thank you for being here to show your support for our region's nonprofits. More than 100 people have volunteered with ELAP in the past year. Many of you are in that number, and you know our work intimately because you volunteered in one of our programs or our legal clinics. I also want to recognize our incredible board members who dedicate significant time and energy in making our organization great. So thank you. And I'd also like to extend a huge thank you to my colleagues, ELAP staff team. It's amazing the impact that this organization can have with such a small number of staff. And their dedication every day to our community and the clients inspires me to work harder and raise more money. And I want to say thank you to Jerry, our fearless leader, for helping us achieve that. And now I want to acknowledge two special staff people who many of you know. Dorothy Leggett, ELAP staff attorney in our medical legal partnership, will be leaving us mid-June and moving out of state. And she's been an incredible leader in developing and expanding the MLP program and has been a zealous advocate for the patients in our partner clinics at HealthPoint and International Community Health Services, and we will miss her greatly. And ELAP's program director, Esperanza Borboa, or as many of you know her, Espy, will be moving on from ELAP at the end of June and spending more time with her family and dedicating her time to the causes and movements that she's passionate about. Over the past 8 years, she's developed ELAP's legal clinics, volunteer program, developed community partnerships, and established legal rights, know your rights educations, and ensured that they are successful. But Espy is not disappearing. She plans to stay around and be closely engaged with our work and the Access to Justice movement. You'll hear a little bit more from her later, but let's thank her for her years of service to ELAP and this community. And a final thank you to all of you for being here this morning. We really couldn't do it without you.
Can we have another round of applause for Alexandra Comstock, our Director of Development? Thank you, Alexandra. And I do just want to say to Dorothy and Espy that while these people are applauding for you, there are like a lot of hearts and other fun emojis that people are sending your way in the chat. So I'm not sure if you can see them, but people are sending you their love there as well. I now have the privilege of welcoming another longtime incredible part of this community. For 10 years, or maybe more, we weren't 100% sure, she has been a volunteer, and for the last 5 years has served on the board of directors and is currently the president of the board of ELAP. Would you please welcome Mary Sakaguchi to the stage? Welcome, Mary.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so happy to be back in person with so many of you after 2 long years of holding our event virtually. It has been a difficult 2 years for everyone. It's been challenging as a small organization. It's been hard on our staff and pro bono attorneys to deliver legal aid, often without meeting their client in person at all. And most of all, it's been incredibly hard on the people who are most vulnerable in our community. And these are the people we serve. As board president, I'm incredibly proud of the way our staff and volunteers have stepped up to meet the challenges of the pandemic. They have persevered through adversity of COVID with a fierce determination to make sure people who are experiencing violence, facing eviction, navigating immigration, and dealing with many other crises would still have access to legal aid. Because we know that having access to civil legal aid changes lives. We learned a lot through this pandemic. ELAP learned that virtual workshops and webinars work. We have had hundreds of people over the past 2 years learn their legal rights through our free online events. All of those have been in partnership with more than 30 community-based organizations. I want to thank our community partners and emphasize how important these partnerships are in delivering our legal services. ELAP's work is built on an intricate web of King County-based community providers that help us link legal needs to housing needs, to DV protection, to food needs and other services. We are able to connect communities to justice because of the strength of our region's nonprofit organizations. That's been more apparent than ever throughout the pandemic. Our staff and pro bono attorneys have risen to the challenges of COVID and continue to reach hundreds of people every year through a combination of Zoom calls, in-person meetings, and court appointments. Their empathy and compassion for the people we serve in King County is a huge source of inspiration for me. It's also clear that the demand for civil legal aid is higher than ever before. We don't anticipate the need ebbing anytime soon. Domestic violence rose during COVID because the victims are more isolated than ever with their abusers, and demand for legal help remains high. A third of the people that we served last year had domestic violence issues and needed our help. Our medical legal partnership has seen strong demand among vulnerable patients at area health clinics. And we've already served more renters facing eviction in the first quarter of this year than the majority of last year combined. Our phone line is absolutely swamped with people needing help to prevent themselves from becoming homeless. ELAP's programs and impact has grown, and we are ready to accelerate our growth to meet the demand in King County for free civil legal aid. But what hasn't kept pace is funding. We are finding ourselves continuously looking for new funding to help meet the demand for our programs. ELAP is poised for growth, but we need your help. We need you to lean in today and next year and the coming years to help us do this work at the level King County needs. You know, I often think of ELAP as a safety provider. We keep people experiencing domestic violence safe by helping them get a protection order. We protect people's sense of security by helping them stay housed. We help people facing financial ruin navigate bankruptcy or secure critical benefits to help them survive. We work with parents to create guardianship plans for their adult disabled children. We reach people in their own communities to serve the most vulnerable individuals and families in our region, and we do it with your help. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Could we have another round of applause for our board president? Thank you, Mary. And again, people are, yay, Mary, is what's happening in the chat. Just that should give you a sense. To all of you who are here, and all of you who are here, thank you. But I really want to point out, if you are in this room, you can see that there are people who have ribbons attached to their name tags. And those are our staff and pro bono attorneys. And if you could give that group a huge round of applause. These are the incredible people who are doing those things that Mary was just talking us about. So staff and pro bono attorneys, we are so, so grateful. And as Mary just mentioned, these past 2 years have required a lot from all of us. And they have offered us the opportunity to be more adaptable, to recover from difficulties, in essence, to be more resilient. There has really been no choice. But at ELAP, we see that quality of resiliency every day. And we see it over and over in the people that we have the privilege of assisting and walking with. So I have the opportunity to ask you to point your attention towards one of the big screens. There is a person who has not only found her own resilience in part with ELAP, but is now coaching immigrants on finding their own. So please have the opportunity to meet Larissa Chupina. Here she is.
Originally, I am from Ukraine and have been living in the Northwest for the last 15 years. Several years ago, my husband left unexpectedly, and I was between jobs at the time, starting my business. At that time, I was worried that I am alone. I would really like to appreciate and say thank you to all members of ELAP, beginning with the how to make an appointment, how friendly they are, with the people who are at the front desk and who will lead you like host in the event. Also, lawyers who devote their time and expertise and have patience and compassion to listen to the story and to understand what is the best solution for everyone. It is possible to live the life, to live American dream. So resilience is my passion and part of my dissertation research. So resilience always having hope. So never lose hope.
Can we have a round of applause for Larissa Chupina? And Larissa, thank you for sharing your story with us. I now get to welcome to the stage someone that I think many of you know very, very well. You've already heard her mentioned. Would you please, I'm sure you will, give a very uproarious round of applause for the ELAP Program Director, Esperanza Espi Borboa. Espi, welcome. Hi. I know. Here, you can applaud for her one more time. Espi Borboa.
Buenos dias. I like that. I'm glad that, I'm going off script just a second, and I'm glad that she mentioned hope. And the reason I'm glad she mentioned hope is because that's why you're all here. On Tuesday, everybody experienced a jolt to our heart and a jolt to our senses, our sense of justice. But we have hope, and that's what this room is about, and that's why you're here, and that's why you got up early. You could have sat at your computer in your robe and slippers and had your cup of coffee, right? No, you're here, and we really appreciate that. I also think I know another reason why you're here. It's the same reason I said yes to ELAP 8 years ago. I saw so much potential for good, and we were right. ELAP has established strong community partnerships. We have a committed and caring staff, generous and competent volunteers, and friends like you who support what we do. We continue to add programs to meet the needs of the community we serve. And we go to the community to find out what they need. We don't make that decision. We should never make that decision. Nobody should. The community knows what they need, and that's who should lead us. We don't lead them. You were right to get up, to dress up, and to show up for a morning with other people like yourself who see the potential in what we are doing here together. Like me, you want to be part of the story of ELAP. The isolation of the pandemic made it clear that we have a serious gap in achieving access to justice for the most vulnerable in our society, like it's been mentioned. At ELAP, we see the problems, we hear the problem, and we feel the problems in the stories of the people who come to us for support. I believe in the vision that created ELAP almost 35 years ago, and I am grateful for people like Ken Davidson, who saw the potential to bring hope and stability to individuals and families, and by extension, to the whole community. ELAP is only possible when others also believe and connect to the vision. The relationships in this room are strong, and that is what has sustained us. Your support represents the steel girders that hold up this organization full of hope and potential. I invest in a lot of things, some good and some bad. And by bad, I mean things like too much chocolate. By good, I mean my time and my money. And we need both from everyone in the room this morning. Until civil legal aid is available to anyone that needs it, ELAP cannot do what we do without you. It's impossible. We need you. We need each other. Let us use this collective power today, this morning, and push ourselves to do more and give more. I know I will today and going forward. Thank you so much for everything you do.
Thank you so much, SB. Hope. I'm aware that, esperanza also means hope. And I'm so grateful, SB, for your reminding us that even on this week, like you said, where there are really difficult things happening in our world, that it is about hope. So, for example, we have the hope that you are going to help us raise $180,000. And we, yes, it's a big hope, but as SB just said, that is the only way that we can provide safety, that we can provide hope for everyone in King County who needs that assistance. So I am going to ask you right now if you might consider supporting ELAP. And again, if you're at home in your slippers and bathrobe, you know what, SB, I'll just say, it's okay. That's fine. We're glad you're here too. And it's really easy because you can click on the link that's somewhere very close to the live stream. And if you're here, this is a moment. If you can text B4J to 44321, you don't have to look at me right now. Just look at your phone. That's fine. That's where it's actually good. And I will tell you, like Kenneth, thank you so very much. People are doing this, and we have already raised over $110,000 this morning. And if you're here with us in this room and you're like, you know what, I'm just done with texting, I don't do texting, that is okay. There are actually pieces of paper, which is another technology that has been around for a while, on your table. And if you want to fill out a piece of paper that says you would like to support ELAP, volunteers have the paper. Oh, raise your hand and we will bring you a piece of paper. Yes, SB wants one. SB's got her hand in the air. So volunteers are coming around with a piece of paper, and then you can fill that out if you like doing it that way. That's totally fine. And I can see that people are helping us, but I have to tell you one more thing. I know that many of you in this room, because, you're probably attorneys and judges and very, people who do their homework in advance, you may have already made a contribution, which is lovely. but our board is offering a large carrot to see if you would like to help even more. We are even more hopeful. The board of ELAP is offering to match gifts of $500 up to $15,000. So 30 gifts of $500. Richard Darrow is taking them up on it. Thank you, Richard, wherever you are. We are hopeful that 30 of you might contribute $500, because if you do, the board will match it for a total of $30,000. $15,000 from you, $15,000 from them. And so many, Molly, thank you, and Leisha, thank you, and Laura, you can probably see, if you want, we could let people see what is happening, because a lot of wonderful things are happening right now. Lacey, thank you, wherever you are. If you're in this room, yeah, we're over $115,000. People are taking us up on this. Laura, thank you. And as you are doing this, I will say that in a moment, we have an incredible group of people who are going to join us for like the next really fun part of our time together. And I'm going to invite them, if they would like, to come up, and I'll introduce you in just a moment. But Susan, thank you. You can applaud for the people who are right now supporting ELAP if you want. And if you are at home, Cynthia, thank you. If you're in the chat, you can say thank you also to all of these amazing people. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Elba, yes, to all of Susan's. People are giving multiple times. This is exactly what we're hoping would happen. Hi, yes. Just a reminder, I'm going to introduce the people who have just joined us, because honestly, what they have to say is really exciting, but you don't have to stop. And if at any point as they're speaking, you become even more inspired, the system is designed to allow you to give any number of times that you would like. So if you want to just almost like if, you applaud at a concert, you could just applaud through your donation as people are speaking. That's okay. You can do it that way. So please don't stop supporting ELAP. And if you need to look at your phone or fill out a card, you can do that. But I am going to introduce the amazing people who have one of the people who have arrived to my right. You may recognize some of these incredible people. And we have a person who has agreed to host this next part of our time together. He has served as a trial judge at the King County Superior Court since 2017, and he brings a unique perspective to the bench, having lived in King County for more than 50 years, where he was raised by his mother in poverty and was actually a juvenile defendant in the very court on which he now serves, which is a unique full circle kind of achievement. He is yes, I know, right? He is a long-time committed legal aid advocate who has served on the Access to Justice Board, on the Northwest Justice Project, on Team Child, and the Civil Legal Needs Study Update Committee. You know him. Hopefully, he has treated you very well in his courtroom, I'm sure. Would you please welcome the Honorable Judge David Keenan. Judge Keenan, welcome.
Thanks, Ian. It's great to be back at Maidenbauer Center. Show of hands, who took the bar exam here? Right, a lot of you did, right? Downstairs in the ballroom. I took the bar exam here. I think, unlike probably any of you in the room, I conducted 4 civil jury trials here at the Maidenbauer Center. You may remember in 2020, at the beginning of the pandemic, the court rented out the entire center so that we could have social distancing with civil jury trials. So I did 2 civil jury trials in the ballroom downstairs. I had an 18,000 square foot courtroom. And then I did my last 2 civil jury trials on that side of the room, which was sectioned off. I had a 5-week medical malpractice trial right where the folks are sitting over here. So it's interesting to be back here at Maidenbauer Center in a different capacity. And I'm really grateful to be here this morning to listen to some important partners in the delivery of civil legal aid to vulnerable communities. I'm going to start with you, Magda. Magda Herrera de Leon is the Health Center Business Director at HealthPoint. Magda was born in Guadalajara, Mexico, where she earned her degree and moved to the United States shortly after starting her career in community health. And HealthPoint, where Magda works, is a nonprofit, community-based a network of health centers dedicated to providing high-quality care to members of our community regardless of their circumstances. They've been around for more than 50 years, and HealthPoint serves patients throughout King County and is one of ELAP's partners in ELAP's medical legal partnership. And an ELAP staff attorney actually works on site at HealthPoint clinics to address patients' legal needs affecting their health. So please put your hands together and welcome Magda. And then immediately to my left, also joining us is Angela Mercado. Angela is the Executive Director at Domestic Abuse Women's Network, also known as DAWN. Angela has been the DAWN Executive Director since 2019. Angela has a background in counseling and crisis response and has worked in that capacity around the country. And DAWN, where Angela works, has been a major provider of domestic violence services in King County for more than 40 years. So you think about that, between DAWN and HealthPoint, that's almost 100 years of combined experience serving the civil legal needs of vulnerable populations here in King County. And ELAP works in partnership with DAWN to provide domestic violence survivors with free legal services. And similar to HealthPoint, there's an ELAP staff attorney on site at DAWN Shelter in Kent. So please put your hands together and welcome Angela. Magda, let's start with you. Can you please briefly describe the work your organization does here in King County and who you serve?
Yes, thank you so much for the invitation to share with all of you. So HealthPoint is a federally qualified health center. We call them FQHCs. We have been around for 51 years. Last year we celebrated our 50th anniversary. And HealthPoint was born out of the civil rights and social justice movement. And like you mentioned, we are all around King County. We have 20 clinics, including an urgent care clinic, 5 school-based health centers located inside high schools and middle schools. We have a COVID testing and vaccination site, and co-located also with Valley City's mental health, other organizations, community partners. We serve around 100,000 patients a year. And we strive to provide whole person care and in a patient-centered approach. So we hope to be that healthcare home for the patients that we serve and provide integrated health. So medical, dental, behavioral health, natural medicine, as well as, I'm missing one, pharmacy services. So yeah, that's who HealthPoint is.
Thank you, Magda. And same question for you, Angela. Can you please describe the work your organization does here in King County and who you serve?
Absolutely. Good morning, everyone. It is an honor and excitement to be here today to help support ELAP. The Domestic Abuse Women's Network, as mentioned, has been in South King County for over 40 years. My team leads our mission every day through legal advocacy, mental health services, immigration advocacy, CSO, which works alongside TANF participants, youth advocacy, general community mobile advocacy, as well as a 13-room emergency shelter. We also host a 24-hour crisis and support line, and that is every day of the year, year-round, by highly trained advocates to be ready to serve clients in South King County.
Thanks, Angela. Angela, I'm going to stick with you for a moment. The theme for this morning's gathering is connecting communities to justice. Can you describe how working with ELAP as part of a local network of community providers helps the people that your organization serves?
Yes, at DAWN, we are incredibly grateful for our partnership with ELAP. We had the opportunity to have a legal service individual completely embedded to help promote synergy between DAWN, ELAP, and the community that we serve. Our partnership allows for us to provide low barrier, no cost legal services to survivors in South King County. Our partnership allows for some great collaboration, support to my legal advocacy team, as well as the opportunity for our survivors to receive free legal services, whether that's a parenting plan, immigration support, help with protection orders, and throughout the whole spectrum of legal services care. Much of our community is under the AMI, as we know, with the low income guidelines. And our partnership with ELAP allows survivors to have a voice, extra support, and some great collaboration with my team.
Thank you. And then same question for you, Magda. How does being part of a network of local community providers help your clients and the folks that your organization serves?
Yeah, definitely a great partnership. We've been fortunate to have actually Dorothy over there at our clinic, physically there at the clinic, and that helps us address what we call social determinants of health. So anything that gets on the way of someone being staying healthy or becoming healthier. So those social determinants of health can be housing, food, access to food, healthy foods, transportation. Maybe the patient is new to the country, they're newly arrived refugee or immigrant that doesn't speak the language, let alone will know how to navigate the system, the complex system that we have. So by bringing someone like ELAP on site, it's removing that barrier, and it's also letting people know that this is someone you can trust, because they come to us because they feel safe at our sites. So bringing someone there lets them know, hey, these are our colleagues, these are our friends, you can trust them, and educate someone on their rights. With their help, we are able to, for example, to help a diabetic patient being able to keep their insulin refrigerated. You need a house to have your fridge, so eviction notices, we've seen a lot of those. A patient that has mold in their apartment and the landlord's not listening, and they come to us for help. We write a letter to them, the provider writes a letter to them, but that's not enough. But when that letter is accompanied by a letter from one of you in your letterhead, things happen. Things happen. So.
Thank you for that, Magda. And I think those concrete examples are so helpful. I mean, we take for granted, right, access to something as simple as refrigeration, but it's not a given for your clients. Magda, you mentioned, was it Dorothy? Is that the staff attorney?
Yes, over
Hi,
there,
Dorothy.
my friend Dorothy Leggett.
And Magda, let's stay with you for a moment. What have been the biggest challenges facing the individuals and families you serve during these past couple of years of the pandemic, and how has your organization addressed those challenges?
Yeah, I think the need is greater than ever. We have worked 51 years with the most vulnerable population, and now with this pandemic, it just has highlighted those inequities. Our patients didn't have the option to stay home, or to work from home. That's not an option for them. They had to go work. They can miss work to come to an appointment. Sometimes they don't have the technology to do a telemedicine appointment, or if they have the technology, they may not know how to use it. So how we have helped is in our mission statement we say breaking down barriers. So that's what we have to do. Bring those services to people where they gather. So bringing vaccination clinics to churches, mosques, temples, where people gather, and we created a campaign called Healthy Together, and that's to address the hesitancy that people of color and vulnerable population that maybe have distrust in the system, prevent them from getting vaccinated. So by bringing those services to them, we remove transportation barriers, time barriers, because we're doing this on a Sunday, after they go to their temple or church. We've created a vaccination and testing site. We open late during the evenings, and then Saturday clinics. We created a clothing bank and a food pantry at our clinic, because I was chatting with Angela earlier. During the pandemic, like I said, it just highlighted the need. You can't give them a phone number, to go, and then you go to the food bank and they only open Tuesdays and Thursdays. You had to give people something right there and there. So we gathered and created a food pantry, partnered with other organizations to deliver food to their homes that was culturally sensitive also to their needs. And, so with all of that, we were able to vaccinate 71% of our patients. 71% of our patients are vaccinated.
And same question for you, Angela. What have been the biggest challenges facing the individuals and the families that Dawn serves, and how have you helped address those challenges?
Sure, much that was mentioned already. For Dawn, our need and our mission to support, empower, and shelter did not change once the pandemic hit. My staff, every day, were on our front line. Much like that was mentioned, we also had to adjust our time. We had to adjust our way that we delivered services. We had to meet our community and our clients where they are and were, which was at times in creative social distancing aspects in the community. We were able to provide supportive virtual platforms with HIPAA compliant links and abilities. We were able to maintain and continue within our advocacy and support line and our crisis line. And we were also able to really be able to provide that virtual support with different types of Zoom or things of that nature so that we could continue support groups or individual virtual drop-in sessions. But as an essential service through the pandemic, my staff continued to be on the front lines each day. Our emergency shelter continued to implement the CDC guidelines and help shelter. Our community advocates and our mental health services and our legal advocates every day worked with the empowerment and for our ability to pivot with our clients, whether that was getting some of that equipment or access to technology, whether that was hosting what we called power hours during the first part of the pandemic with our clients calling not only with their domestic violence that they were experiencing because abuse thrives in isolation, but also how do I do the homeschooling with my kid? How do I help with, other dynamics in the home? Where do I find food? Because we no longer are always getting that consistent access to food that was provided by the schools, or we live too far away to be able to get those and be accessible. So we were able to maintain our abilities to help reduce those barriers too.
Thank you, Angela. Can I also ask you, how do you think that we, and by we, I mean this community of attorneys, judicial officers, elected officials, the communities that we serve, how can we make a substantial difference in the lives of the vulnerable populations that you serve? Or really, put another way, can you tell us what you need?
Sure. We need visibility and representation, and we need discussions. And in those three buckets, we have the opportunity to not only raise awareness, but also help promote prevention so that our overall wraparound care model can become a symbiotic method of prevention and not always crisis, that we can have both abilities to support with that consistent need. Partners are incredibly important to nonprofit agencies. And so what we need is those continued partnerships, the continued sustainability of those partnerships and services and the funding and a lot of the why we're here this morning, but also voices. We need boots on the ground, so to speak, in order to raise that awareness.
Thank you. And the same question for you, Magda. What can our community do to help the vulnerable populations that you serve?
I think, first of all, being aware and showing up like you all did, like people in the virtual world did, showing up. So that's fantastic. You took that first step. And then being engaged, being curious about the population that lives here in our county, I always said that there's two different King counties, right? There's one where Microsoft is, and Microsoft is here too. And there's... and there's another one where the clinic that I manage is, in City of Des Moines in Midway, Pacific Highway, 10 minutes from the airport. Different King County, right? So being aware, being engaged, and I hesitated saying this, but I'm just going to say it, and I don't think I shared this before, but I heard once, what is the difference between being involved and being committed? And today we had bacon and eggs, right? The chicken was involved, but the pig was committed. So we need more people committed to the cause, more Dorothys at our clinics. I hope that every of our 20 clinics and every of our community health centers have a medical legal partnership, at their sites. That's what we need.
Thank you, Magda. And, on that theme of just like boots on the ground and being committed, let me just quickly add, I'm in my second year of a 2-year rotation to the Unified Family Court at the court. And I take very seriously the idea that there are multiple King counties, some that have access to justice and others that only have access to process. And so many of you in this room and our partners at ELAP, I think, help us get justice out of that system and make it an access to justice system and not just an access to process system. So thank you to our providers. Thank you to everybody here in the room for supporting that work. I've had 33 family law trials in the last 17 months and any number of domestic violence protection orders that I've issued. And so many folks are unrepresented, and you are all going a long way towards addressing that need. So let me just come back to something a little bit more hopeful. Magda, can you share with our community what gives you hope?
Despite all the ugliness in the world, like esperanza, hope, I have hope. I have hope on us as humans, it's humanity, I guess. I have hope that we can make a difference, that we can amplify our voices and see the needs of others and hear the needs of others. Because once you see it, once you hear it, you can't undo that. There's not undo button like we have in our computers. And just open your ears, your eyes, your hearts, and I guess they would like me to say your wallets, and and be part of this cause. Be part of this cause. And yeah, I have hope, and I will never lose hope, like Esperanza was saying, on us as humans, that we can truly make a difference.
Thank you. And then, Angela, same question for you. What gives you hope?
Sure. I think, I believe, to quote John Lennon, when you look through the crowd of people and you see all of the issues, focus on the do-gooders. Focus on the people trying to do better. I see a room full of that this morning. As a leader of a nonprofit, I am incredibly hopeful of continued partnerships. I'm incredibly hopeful of the awareness that has been brought to the high need of human services in general, as well as impacts on our communities. I'm hopeful that there's an awareness there, that there is a starting to have a reduction of stigma. You don't hear as often, that doesn't happen in my backyard, that's not possible. We have hope that the awareness that 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men will experience domestic violence. Our survivors at dawn, at any point, have between 7 to 9 legal needs that are preventing their next steps to safety. Today, we get to start to reduce that number, both from an awareness perspective, as well as with each navigation of our systems, our court systems, the legal services, much like you mentioned. Having that representation is one more step towards turning that key to a home, not having to worry or that hypervigilance that comes with the trauma of domestic violence. And we all get to do that together. That's my hope.
Thank you, Angela. Magda, I think that you and your clients give me hope and give us all hope. Can we have a round of applause for Angela and Magda? And I think we're going to turn the program back over to Ian.
Well, not really. Would you give one more round of applause for Miss Herrera de Leon, Miss Mercado, Judge Keenan? Thank you, Judge Keenan. Mostly, this program is going to turn you back all over to the rest of your day. But I do want to say this. Is it commitment? It's commitment. That's the bacon, yes. Your commitment is truly inspirational. And this morning, we have already raised $137,337 to continue to support the work of ELAP. Thank you all. I do want to invite you to this. This is a holiday weekend for some people. On Monday, some people will not have to go to work. Other people will go to work. I am reminded of what We just heard that King County is many places to many people, so remembering that not everybody has Monday off, but maybe some of you do. And throughout this weekend, the ability to text B4J to 44321 will remain available through the end of Monday. So as you go back to work today, or if you see people on Monday or this weekend, tell them about this morning, because it's about conversation, as we heard from Ms. Mercado. When people talk about these things, then we can stay committed, and we can stay committed as a group. And invite people to send a text message. Tell them how easy it was. Just say, just do it right now. It's only 3 characters. Text message rates do apply. And then I am certain that we can achieve our goal of raising $180,000 by the end of this weekend with all of your support and commitment. So thank you. If you filled out a piece of paper, those are very valuable. Would you hold them up right now so that we can come collect them? We really, really want all of those things. And before you all go, I'm going to let our 3 amazing contributors, if you'd like to go back to your tables, you can. And just very quickly, I want to welcome back our board president, Mary Sakaguchi. Would you please welcome Mary back to the table, to the stage? Hi, Mary.
Thank you all for your incredibly generous support today. More importantly, I want to thank you for believing in the power, believing in the hope that civil legal aid and community partnerships bring to the people in need in King County and make change to their lives. ELAP is only able to do this work because of all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. I'll just say thank you again on behalf of ELAP to everyone who joined us via live stream. Thank you. If you all want to wave at those people one more time, thank you all for being here together, and thank you for being here, and people are waving back. And then just one final thank you. We could not have put together this morning's program without our production partners, Synchronicity Events. Synchronicity Events, you are amazing. We're so grateful. Thank you. Please have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and continue to talk about these things, and we will see you again very, very soon. Have a great morning, and thank you.